Hey there everyone, Porterhouse here, and this video is to explain why you have not seen any World of Tanks videos from me lately. Well, that's because I've quit, at least for now. And that's for a number of reasons, and at the top of this list is Wargaming.net's push for pay-to-win premium vehicles. Now, this has always existed, but lately it seems like they have really stepped up their game, first by selling the E25, that little German TD, over and over again, which is annoying because after the first time they did it and everybody hated it, they promised not to do it again. Then they started selling the Chrysler KGF. I will explain a little bit more about that later. The extremely OP Su-130PM, which is a Russian tank destroyer that can pretty much strip off about 50% of the durability on about any tank I have. So that's a little ridiculous. And then they started selling the Scorpion G again. I think they thought they were going to try to sneak it under the radar by selling it as an unskinned version and just calling it the Scorpion. But same crappy OP German TD, so whatever, no matter what you call it. All of these are pure OP pay-to-win tanks. Now, I have nothing against most premium tanks. I own quite a few of them, actually. But most of the ones I have, except for the ones I got for free, for some reason, World of Tanks kept throwing Russian tanks at me. I now have like 6. I think I bought 1. Anyway, all of these have trade-offs for being premiums, at least all the ones I use. Now, for example, I have the M4A1 Revaliere, and I know I mispronounced that, just let it go. I mainly bought it because I collect Sherman tanks and Sherman variants, and this one actually turned out to be pretty fun to play. Its 105mm gun hits like the angry fist of God, but the trade-off is that it's slow, it has kind of crappy armor, and its DPM is low because of its long reload cycle. I learned very quickly that it best served in a sort of support role, smacking enemy-heavy tanks with HE rounds and damaging their tracks, their modules, and taking out crew members. Well, and then you duck back into cover and wait for a reload, and try to avoid getting hit by artillery, which we will be talking about also in a moment. It earns pretty good credits and it's cheap to repair, but as I said, its armor, speed, and low DPM are all trade-offs for that massive gun. And I think all premiums should be that, and I don't care what you say, some of them aren't, including the ones I just mentioned. Now, then there's still the crappy, broken artillery mechanic in the game. Now, God forbid you should be trying to take a strategic location in a heavy tank, because you will get instantly targeted and shredded by the artillery, especially in matches where they have 3 artilleries. Now, I have tried to take a position, realized I've gotten spotted, driven in circles, zigzagged back and forth, pretty much made my tank do everything but tap dance to avoid getting repeat hits, yet artillery seems to be able to continue to hit my tank no matter what. Now, I'm going to tell you a quick story. I was in my Standard B, which is my Italian tier 9. Wow, it took me a second to get there. Love that tank. I was lurking behind a hill in some cover, and I was hoping to ambush somebody or spot somebody in case it was a tank that was too heavy for me to pen. And all of a sudden my sixth sense went off and I realized I got spotted because I'd been sitting still too long, so I took off and was literally probably 2 tank lengths away from where I'd been spotted and took a hit and it blew off my track. Well, I could normally write that off as a lucky hit. I had a repair kit, used that, took off again, and was literally zigzagging through terrain, and I was still getting hit over and over again with artillery until it finally destroyed my Standard B before I could get back to some cover, real cover. Even then, I don't think I would have gotten away from the artillery. So the fact is that it seems like every hit from artillery unerringly blows off my tank's tracks. And this is especially galling because the next artillery will hit me and reset the timer on the track repair. And then it's pretty much just rinse, lather, and repeat until my tank is scrap. And honestly, it sometimes doesn't even take 3 artillery in a match for that to happen. I have been in a match with one artillery and seen that artillery beat the crap out of a heavy tank. And that artillery, just so you know, was an M44. Has a really fast reload time on it. Now, then there's also the fact that I have seen artillery rounds pass through solid objects to hit me. And if you want proof of this, watch this clip.
Acquired. Fuel tank ruptured. Target lost. We've lost a crack. We're stuck here. Permission to engage. Our fuel tanks hit. Target lost. We've lost a crack. We're stuck here. Need to fire. Our fuel tanks ruptured. Target lost. We're immobilized.
So as you saw, the rounds passed through a cliff face to hit my Firefly, or near it I should say, which is pure unadulterated bullpucky. Now some folks will argue that artillery rounds work differently than rounds from a tank, but again, that's just a load of hot garbage. Long story short, if my rounds have to have a clear, unobstructed trajectory to get to a target, then so should artillery rounds, and not be passing through buildings and cliff faces. And I have seen this a lot, and so have my clanmates and other people that I have talked to that played or used to play World of Tanks. Now, finally, the crowning turd in the bowl is the matchmaking system. Holy crap, when you play 20 matches in a row and end up bottom tier for most of them, it gets a little old. Hell, if I got middle tier most of the time, I'd be happy. Well, to its credit, World of Tanks has promised to fix this, but like a lot of things they've said before in the past, I'll believe it when I see it. Now, I realize this sounds like I'm just bitching, and to a certain degree I kind of am, but not without cause, and I'm not the only one. Sir Fosh, who was a content creator for World of Tanks, posted a video pointing out the baloney behind the Chrysler FGK having no weak points on its frontal armor, and a little bit about the cost as well. Now, I could kind of understand that was $100 for a fully loaded version. And he did go a little crazy with the language, but he wasn't wrong. World of Tanks' reaction was to file a copyright strike on him and to have his video taken down. After much public outcry, the copyright strike was removed and he was able to put his video back up. Now, also, one of my favorite World of Tanks YouTubers is QuickyBaby, aka Will Frampton, and he is a huge fan of the game with over 1,000 videos and almost 600k subscribers. Now, keep in mind, I said he loves the World of Tanks, and he really does, but he did post 2 videos, one showing how World of Tanks seems to be slowly but surely dying, and one pointing out problems with the game and outlining his suggestions for fixing it. Now, I agree with about 95% of what he says, but there are a few things I would add to the remove or severely nerf list that he suggested, and I've already outlined most of those earlier in the video, the E25, the SU-130, and a few other things as well. It's not something I have gone through tank by tank and seen which ones I'd want to nerf or get rid of, but those are the ones that stand out. Now, I would also recommend removing the stun mechanic from artillery and reducing their damage and accuracy across the board. I would also remove their ability to break tank tracks unless they actually hit the tank. And I can kind of understand a high explosive hitting near a tank, blowing off its track, but I've seen artillery strikes like almost a full tank length behind me take off one of my tracks, and that's garbage. Next up, I would make the differences in premium vehicles largely cosmetic, or as I stated before, having trade-offs for some superior traits like fast tanks like the AMX 1375 GF. In exchange for its high speed, I would give it a much lower DPM than its regular counterpart, and or reduce its rate of fire or lower its penetration values and damage, or some combination thereof. And that's something that we would literally have to be done on a tank by tank basis. Now, also, it's time to get rid of premium ammo altogether, or put its cost on par with other ammos, but only after reducing its damage to 50% of regular ammo. So, same penetration, but way less damage. However, really the ideal solution is just to remove it altogether. It really does not serve any purpose if all the tanks have properly balanced armor, which some don't because of premium ammo. So let's remove it and give all the tanks some soft points again. And honestly, when I'm playing, I don't mind having to maneuver / flank an opponent to get at their soft spots. It's part of the game. That's the part I enjoy. I enjoy the duel. Also, I don't mind protecting the flanks of my own team's heavies with either my heavy or my favorite type of tank, a medium. I will play a medium, follow the heavies around, and keep smaller, faster tanks out of their blind spots and off of their flanks. That is a type of gameplay that I really, really enjoy. Now, that's pretty much outlines all of my complaints about the game and about why I stopped playing. Now, I hate the fact that I'm not playing. I love World of Tanks. I love the historical value. That is what drew me to the game in the first place, was the historical tanks, the Shermans mainly. Reason behind that is my dad was a tanker. He was in an EZ-8 in Korea. It was one of the last times a EZ-8 was deployed in combat before it was replaced. So a bit of a nostalgia thing for me. And I also love a lot of the other older tanks as well in all of the lines. And I could have gone to play War Thunder, but I really don't like some of the controls and mechanisms of the game. It just seems really kind of clunky and sloppy to me. So that was a big turnoff. Armored Warfare was a pretty good compromise. I've been having a lot of fun with that. The matchmaking is fantastic for both PvE and PvP. But it does lack the historical element, and I like it, but not as much as I used to like World of Tanks. So that's it in a nutshell. So you'll be seeing some Armored Warfare videos from me very soon. Please stay tuned, and I hope you enjoy those as much as you enjoyed watching my World of Tanks videos, and I will see you all at the next Armored Warfare video.